Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shadowed City Podcast. I am your host, Larry, and this is The Shadows Within. And we are going to be going over quite a few shows tonight. And we are going to start off with the recent IPW house show that passed. Well, El Grande Filipino took on Pat G, with Pat G walking out victorious. Chaotic Cameron versus Ivy Lowe, with Ivy Lowe walking out victorious. Reyna versus Jordan Jules versus Britt Graves, with Reyna walking out victorious. Sean Murphy versus Akane Vachon, with Akane Vachon walking out victorious. Ace the Kid versus Ace Green, with Ace Green walking out victorious. Tyson Storm versus SJG versus Derek Marshall versus AJ Woods in a fatal four-way, with Tyson Storm walking out victorious. Big Lou and John Robb of the Wolfpack took on CJ Frost and Andre Robinson of the Venom Club, with the Wolfpack walking out victorious. Buster Anderson versus Jack Graves, with Buster Anderson walking out victorious. IPW BMF Championship, Primetime JoJo took on the champion Damian Briggs, with Damian Briggs retaining the gold. Now, we are going to go over the upcoming shows for CLPW's recent return, which is happening right now, but I will go over the show of the result winners tomorrow, but I will tell you what you're in store for on CLPW, starting with CLPW Legacy. It will be Bradley Boone Jr. with Bradley Boone Sr. at his side, taking on Jackson Torres with Aaron James at his side. The sons battle it out as their fathers accompany them to their ringside, who walk out victorious. Bailey Foster and Lisa Primetime with the Tag Team Primetime versus Izzy Mamba and Eliza Lynn. The Rainbow Connection versus the Wild Ones. Blue Lightning versus Kaylee Sky. Ricardo Palmer versus Adrian Trung. Carolina's Most Wanted versus the Cartel. And to main event it all, King Dominator KD versus Adam Murphy. That is brought to you by Mr. Aaron James, the GM, and this is brought to you by the GM Bob for Ignition, a 6-woman battle royal to kick off the show. Angelina West, Psycho Girl, Beth Wigham, Ivy Jane, Sunshine Suzuki, and Geist. Wild Ones will take on the Nasty Boys. AJ Tonga versus Morgan Moore. NLG versus Richard Stone. Them Boys versus Doom. Reagan Anderson versus Tarantula. Lewis West versus Sean Smith in the main event. Now, that is what's to come up on CLPW. Next up, we are going to go over GPW NXT Vengeance, where it was Bobo the Clown versus Primetime JoJo, with JoJo walking out victorious. Hold on. The Southern Psycho versus Papucho Nagowski, with Nagowski walking out victorious. Triple Threat Elimination Jack Demon versus Buster Anderson versus Eddie Walker, with Buster Anderson walking out victorious. A 20-second count matchup between the Clown Big C versus Insidious, with Clown Big C walking out victorious. Tornado Tag Action, 6-man tag action. Turtle Harrington and Lanza Kazarian and Evil Johnny took on Big Lou, John Robb, and Big T of the Wolfpack, with the Wolfpack walking out victorious. Jake King versus ZZ Beretta and GPW Intercontinental Champ DMP and I apparently forgot to write down the fourth man's name. That's on me, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. But Jake King walked out victorious. A 5-way tables elimination matchup between Vince Saban, Travell Daniel, Shan Leon, Ace Thompson, and Lil Devil, with Vince Saban walking out victorious. No holds barred, AJ Woods versus Ranger Rogue, MK3, and a no holds barred with Ranger Rogue walking out victorious. And the cap off the night, it was a no holds barred it was a 6-women superstar gauntlet eliminator between Callie Bass, Nina Schmidt, War Maiden, Britt Monet, Alexis Lynch, and Banshee. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go over WCCW's show that happened today, Blue Brand Day of the Great Unholy Deed. Go check it out if you missed it. Hold on. Mother Russia with the IC Red Army versus HBIC Nisha with Club Elite, with Mother Russia walking out victorious. Primetime JoJo versus Eddie Walker, with Primetime JoJo having the show stealers at his side, with Eddie Walker walking out victorious. Machete versus Sheik Ahmed, with Sheik Ahmed walking out victorious. Tyson Dixon versus Jay Smoke, with Tyson Dixon walking out victorious. Missy versus Dishy, with Dishy walking out victorious. Juan Yu versus Big Time, with Big Time walking out victorious. Nikita Evans versus Pamela P. Platinum, with Paul Heyman at her side, with Nikita Evans winning that matchup between her and Pamela. Jack Graves with the Black Door DSF and Jay Stone versus Mad King, with Mad King walking out victorious. Now we are going to go on to All-Star Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome at Ernest Mitchell. We just went over your show. Great show, by the way. If y'all missed it, I strongly suggest going to go check it out. You won't be disappointed. For All-Star Pro, we have Pal Driver Season 3, Episode 32. All-Star Pro Classic Tag Team Champion DeMarco took on All-Star Pro Cruiserweight Champion Kando Dragon, with DeMarco walking out victorious. Akira Tanaka versus Reagan Anderson, with Reagan Anderson walking out victorious. Jay Red versus Adam Matthews, with Adam Matthews walking out victorious. Jay Smoke versus Jimmy Kane, with Jay Smoke walking out victorious. Cold Steel versus Bishop Blaze, with Bishop Blaze walking out victorious. Reese the Destroyer versus Sean Smith, with Reese the Destroyer walking out victorious. Welcome, Noah Gibson. Welcome. All-Star Pro Fight Night Championship, Rob Life versus AJ Albright. The champion AJ Albright defending against Rob Life, with Rob Life becoming the new champion. Nina Schmidt versus Angel Bryant, with Nina Schmidt walking out victorious. And a cap off the night, Blackjack versus Jack Graves, with Jack Graves walking out victorious. Now, the recent show today, All-Star Pro Vendetta 3, was a fatal 4-way Extreme Rules Jimmy Kane, Lil Devil, Ronin Reaper, and Kabuki Dragon, with Jimmy Kane walking out victorious. All-Star Pro World Television Championship, the Ghost Jay Jin took on Lanza Kazarian, with Jay Jin walking out victorious. All-Star Pro Women's World Championship, no holds barred, Bailey Nelson versus Callie Rage, with Callie Rage the champion retaining her gold against Bailey Nelson. Underground Championship in an underground matchup as Jay Monster took on the champion Jackson, Jay Monster becoming the new champion. All-Star Pro Grand Prix Championship, Brian Walker versus the champion Pabucho Nagaski, with Brian Walker becoming the new champion. All-Star Pro International Championship, Jindrak versus the champion Buster Anderson, with Jindrak becoming the new champion. Continental Crown Championship Alex Knight versus the champion Shan Leon, with Alex Knight walking out victorious. All-Star Pro Classic Women's Championship Whitney Winters versus Angel Bryant, the champion, with Angel Bryant retaining her gold. All-Star Pro World Heavyweight Championship, the Dream Superstar took on the champion Terrible Tito, with Terrible Tito retaining the gold. The All-Star Pro Classic Heavyweight Championship, the champion Jack Graves defended against Bishop Blaze, with Jack Graves retaining and ending the show. Now we are going to go over IZW's coming show, IZW Slaughterfest, which is on the 25th. Triple Threat Death Pit Championship, with it returning as the champion John Wigginton will defend against CJ Frost and Aaron James. Wes Grimm versus KD. Crossfire Women's Tag Team Championships, a ladder match where the titles debuted, with the Nightmare Legion, Britt Graves and Sarah Simpson, versus the Sisters of Decay, Violet Grimm and Kendra Grimm, versus Violence Incarnate Riley and Jessica Troy. The champions. Death Pit matchup, JoJo versus Rob Anderson. IZW Crossfire International Championship TLC, Big T versus the champion Akane Fashawn with Charles Youngblood at his side. IZW Women's Bloodlust Championship in a fatal 5-way tables of death. Sylvia Knight, Akira Frost, LaShawn S., Reagan Anderson, and Cassandra M. DeMoise. Triple Threat Elimination, Jay Jin versus Alexander Colt versus Andre Robinson. Crossfire Women's Championship No Escape Cage, Bailey Cruz versus Akira Frost. Crossfire Tag Team Championships, Yosef Sokolov and Andre Blackbear take on the champions the Wolfpack, John Robb and AJ Woods. 2 out of 3 Glass Shatters, Travell Daniel versus Rusty Steele. Fatal 4-way elimination, Big Motherfucking Lou versus Chaotic Cameron versus Craig Mack versus Khan. Another Death Pit match between Nikita Sakamoto versus Jen. Falls Count Anywhere, Red Mane versus Reese the Destroyer. And for the Crossfire Universal Championship in a no escape cage, Buster Anderson versus Jack Graves. Now, I am going to go over the RCW Funhouse, which was a very hell of a show. If you all missed it, I suggest go checking it out. It was a Extreme Rules 2 out of 3 falls to kick us off. Uncle Ruckus with Hulk Hogan versus Barry White Johnson, with Uncle Ruckus walking out victorious. A special guest referee match, as the special guest referee Butthead was the referee for Danny West versus Ashley McKay, with Ashley McKay walking out victorious. After that was another special guest referee matchup, as Tyrone Biggums was the special guest referee, as it was a 2 out of 3 falls, Nasty Boys Linda Black and Bob Dole versus Beavis and Butthead, with the Nasty Boys walking out victorious. And Underground 2 out of 3, Angelina West versus Lucy Carter, with Lucy Carter walking out victorious. Underground Paul Carter versus Fink, with Fink walking out victorious. Imps versus KD, Jack Graves and Lewis West, with KD, Jack Graves and Lewis West walking out victorious. And a Falls Count Anywhere to end the night, Jen versus Helga, with Jen at her side, with Jen walking out victorious. And Burning Reckoning's recent show for RCW. It was Jack and Britt Graves taking on Nikki Cross and Rowan of the Wyatts. The Nightmare Legion, Jack and Britt won. And there was 3 death matches right here. Paul Carter versus RVD. Jason versus Michael Myers. Leon Carter versus Rob Anderson. Paul Carter, Michael Myers, and Rob Anderson all advanced and will be going on to the PLE in the Fatal 4-Way against Big T. Gage Payton versus Reagan Anderson in a cage pins only intergender matchup, as Reagan Anderson walked out victorious. Angelina West versus Angel Bryant, champion versus champion in an underground matchup, as Angel Bryant walked out victorious. Main event, champion versus champion, First Blood. Big T versus the Nightmare Briggs. With Big T walking out victorious. And that was the show, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Shadows Within. Stay tuned for Christine's Chaos for IWA next week. Stay tuned for an IWA War Room coming up after a great return of IWA today. And also stay tuned for SPW, Anarchy Archives. And I hope everybody has a great day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever y'all may be. Peace out.